We leave the Circuit di Barcelona Catalunya and move over back to Italy. But it's the San Marino Grand Prix at the World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. Welcome to round 16 of the season. It's time for the 1 hour practice session that will decide the running order for both Q1 and Q2 at what is the last European leg before we head to the Asia Flyaway races. And we are underway. The green light is on and the riders are heading out onto the field for the first time in this afternoon session for what is going to be once again a very dramatic and very exciting hour. Riders heading out there on the circuit then. We've got the 4 sector times below us. If you're new to us, they'll flash whether or not there's a crash in an area or a yellow flag. They'll go yellow in that certain area, and we'll do our best to tell you who's gone off the circuit before we get TV pictures. Full timings alongside us as well. And the top 10, remember, automatically go through to qualifying number 2. After that, 11 down to 24, well 23 in this case, we'll have to go through the remaining Q1, where the top 2 will be progressed up. I'm Joshua Birch. Megan Birch not with us for this session. She'll be back tomorrow ahead of practice 2 and qualifying. But we're all set then for what's going to be a very interesting hour. The session's underway, slightly warmer as you can see. Track temperature is at 37 degrees Celsius, air temperature 28 Celsius, so not too shabby overall. Not too bad at all for the Grand Prix of San Marino and the Rimini Rivera. So that's the full title is the Red Bull Grand Prix of San Marino and the Rimini Rivera. So of course, over the years we've had the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here. So now San Marino is the official title, but it's the San Marino and the Rimini Rivera Grand Prix era. So a little bit of an extension. Of course, San Marino is such a small country, they can't host their own Grand Prix, so they sort of move over. Evening, Michael says, good evening to you too. Kingsbride says, Mark Marquez 93 all along. Pecco's given up on the 2025 title. Seems like he has as well. Plug says hello to us. Hello, everybody. And this was Hoya Martin coming into turn 3. The rear sliding out from underneath him and just running wide over onto the blue rumble strip area. So the tyre's not fully up to temperature just yet as we are underway for this one. Let's check in with our colleagues over at TNT Sports and see what the latest news is as the green light's on.
I heard that Joan Zarco was not up at Barcelona anyway. He'd not tried that frame yet, so I don't know if he's got it here, but yeah. So obviously the factory boys, Mir and Marini, getting the good stuff for Fabio could use it. Joan could use it.
Yeah, and I expect you'll feel a little nose out of joint of that. I've delivered you your win this year. I've delivered another podium for you. I'm supposed to, be not a test mule, but I'm supposed to be part of the factory setup. I know he's an LCR Honda, but he's an HRC employee. I expect he feels a little bit miffed at that, but that's the way of the world, isn't it? If you're not in the factory team, and that's part of the reason he wanted to be in the factory team. We know now that he's staying at LCR Honda. Yeah, I couldn't tell you whether he's got it on this weekend yet. We'll find out later today when we hear from the riders. Jack Miller, part of the Yamaha troop, was there to welcome Augusto Fernandez in the V4 to the track yesterday. We'll try and get a glimpse of it as soon as we can, but it looks different, doesn't it? Yeah. Already.
Yeah, it does. It looks. You can tell it's completely different. Looks a longer. It looks different because there's no sponsors on the side of the bike as well. It looks big. It looks a bit bulbous, a bit.
But it's not. I think we've seen a sort of a front-on shot, haven't we? And actually, where the V4, the inline 4 is wide across the frame, they've more margin in.
Yeah, well, an inline 4 is much wider, so that gives you less room to play with the aero fairings, with what you can do with the aero, and the V4. So the V4 Yamaha, as we saw, straight on, it looks like there is a lot more room there, and they've done a lot more work with that aero fairing, ground effect fairing, and this gives the technicians, the engineers, a lot more opportunity to sort of play with the aero side, and as we know, that's a very important parameter of the bikes right now.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get a chance to have a look at it out on track and we can talk about it some more. Aprilia didn't have the weekend we expected of them in Barcelona, a track where, of course, they've won in the past. They've regularly featured on the podium, you know, at 1-2s. It's been their track, and it just never lit up, did it? It never caught fire.
No, but it's been a bit upside down for Aprilia, because we didn't expect them in Austria, stop-and-go track. We definitely didn't expect them in Balaton Park, the mother of a stop-and-go track, I mean a go-kart track.
Yeah.
And they were good there. And then in Barcelona, where we thought, right, now they've performed on tracks that naturally doesn't necessarily suit the DNA of their bike. They are going to be super strong in Barcelona, and they struggled. So
they've obviously, remember the first comments from Bezzecchi and Martin, or they were sort of mixed. It's a great front end, but the instability, and you just wonder whether changing that feel, changing the way, you know, the front end felt, that has just compromised a little bit there.
The grip, because it is hard to generate the grip in Barcelona, because it is a very low grip track, and with those long corners, the fact that the bike was, you know, maybe a bit more twitchy in the past, the fact that you take away the grip and then the bike becomes a little bit more compliant and less sharp reactions. And yeah, it looks like they weren't able to generate that grip. They were struggling really a lot with the grip level in the back, in the rear. And that's what they were. That's the comment that we heard during the weekend in Barcelona. And it looks like they didn't find it. So to me, it looks like they lost a bit of mechanical grip in the rear part of the bike, and that's helped them for the stop-and-go tracks.
Yeah, like here.
Yeah, but then it's compromising them on the ones where it's very hard to go and get that grip. So yeah, it looks like they have a longer bike now. They've gone more long, and so you know you got then, if you, for example, if you got a swing arm a lot longer, you're gonna have a little bit less mechanical rear grip. But the rear grip is not going to push your front. You're going to lose a bit of that rear grip, and that might rebalance your grip balance, let's say, in a good way for the stop-and-go tracks, like here.
Some commitment there through Curvone for Bez.
That Aprilia looks like
it's spot on, isn't it?
Shopping trolley. It looks so twitchy and nervous, you know that.
But he's setting good times at the moment, because Bezzecchi's middle sectors are up. He's fast at the moment, but he's done a quick time out of the last corner up to the line. Last lap time was a 1:31.342. He crosses the line to 1:31.166. So more time bettered on the overall delta. It's just getting more and more easy, I think, at the moment. That's the good thing about all this. It's a smooth, calm, nicely operated system as the situation continues to go on. So, Alex Marquez in P2, DG third, Bassini goes fourth, 1:31.721, Mark Marquez fifth, Quartararo sixth, Marini, Acosta, and then Morbidelli goes into eighth, puts Acosta down to ninth, Martin goes into 10th place then, he's just outside of it, Binder in 11th, Rins, Aldeguer, Zarco, Bagnaia, Ayagura coming back into the play. So it's not as done as we thought this session might be. There's still some more delta coming as we ride. Listen in with Bezzecchi.
Got the next turn now.
This is where it gets nervous.
Sixth gear, and Neil's right, and so Sylvain, the rear sliding out as he's coming down into turns 11, 12, 13, and 14, and it's just rear shaking like absolute crazy in order to try and get something right on the delta. As Bezzecchi tilts back through, and then full power up towards the line, and let's see what this time is for Marco Bezzecchi. Sector times aren't really improving. I'm on the 2. Is it quicker or not? That's a 1:31.166, so not exactly the benefits that we were expecting to see this soon in the session. So no would be the answer to that delta change question that we were expecting, but then again, I wasn't expecting to see that much this early on anyway. Lap time counter for a few riders now flying through. Bagnaia has shot up the timing screens from 16th place. He goes up into 4th, 1:31.528 now as well. So that's a little bit of a better delta time. As Mark Marquez up by 0.067 in the first sector. Right, Joshua Smith. Hello, Josh. Watching today on holiday from the Indian Rock Beach in Florida. It's super sunny today for me, 30 degrees. Just after 9 a.m. for me, hoping Mark can get the title this weekend. Mark can't get the title this weekend. It's mathematically impossible. He had to be more than 3 points ahead of Alex last time out at Catalonia. But with Alex winning the Grand Prix, that means he was 5 points clear. So Mark can get as close as 1 point away from needing the championship this weekend. But he must have his first opportunity to be champion at the Motegi circuit in Japan in 2 weeks' time. That's the first one, unfortunately. So he can't do it for a while, which is a shame, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. As Marc Marquez goes fastest over the line now, 1:31.026. So he's now taking the top honours by 0.14 over second between the two. So better delta, better pace coming in as we have 48 minutes to go. Let's go down to the pits.
Yeah, I want to talk about the V4, which you debuted in its first competitive outing earlier on in FP1. 1.2 seconds off the pace across 17 laps. What's your overall assessment of what you saw?
Definitely, it's been a good start. Already being here, it's a good achievement because considering when we started this project and thinking that we are already here, it's already a big, an important achievement. Today he had a little issue, the bike stopped and he lost sometimes, you know. Also the test rider, he needs to get the speed. So overall, apart of the little issue he had, things are going well. For me, I can't say something different.
What was the little issue? Was it an Augusto issue or was it a bike issue?
Just the ECU recovery, and they stopped the engine. But the bike was then once back to the garage, they checked, and the bike was running again.
And what was Augusto Fernandez's assessment of it as well? First time actually being competitive out there with the other bikes. What did he say to you afterwards?
But he didn't talk much. In general, he said that he was feeling comfortable with the bike. Also because we are trying to avoiding putting pressure on him. For us, this wild card is very important to not results, but gathering information. And I think it will be much more important maybe the test on Monday, when all the factory riders will try the bike and where they will ask maybe to push a bit more. But with Augusto, we are just telling him to do his job and to collect data. For sure, he will try to push as much as he can, but always in a safety way.
I bet the likes of Fabio cannot wait to get on it, especially when he's seen that it can be fast, it can be competitive.
Yeah, you know, they already tried the bike last Monday in Barcelona, and even if the conditions were pretty poor, the first feeling were positive, and overall the test went well. But you know, it's different when you are all together and you can start comparing the lap times.
Well, I hope you collect all the data you need this weekend and Monday. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Massimo Mamoli there as well is telling us all the information about this morning's test on the Yamaha V4. He's got his first official day test back on Monday at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and that was an interesting test day as well. Some interesting runs between them, but 9 times out of 10 it's looking good at the moment. 45 minutes to go then. Riders just coming back in and out of the pit lane on their first runs of the session. So there's a few more times still to be decided.
The last thing they need to do is be throwing a bike at a fence and writing anything off. So, yeah, it's to ride at 98% and, like I say, try and give as much feedback as possible.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done, of course, yeah.
It was a stoppage this morning. Silva Massal things just like the engine gone into safe mode. Something to do with the electronics.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was any major breakdown, and you're going to get a few like teething problems like that.
You've been in the position. You've been in that position with, you know, helping bring a factory in MotoGP, bringing them up to the top, you know, developing how, you know, talk us through from Augusto Fernandez and Andrea Dovizioso, who obviously is behind the scenes as well. Talk us through the next steps between now and them making a decision, because they still say the decision hasn't 100% been made to race it next year. We think it has,
Yeah.
but they say officially it hasn't until they safely navigate a couple more tests and race weekends like this.
Well, for Augusto Fernandez, the job as a rider is, try and gather as much data as possible, as much feedback as possible. The interesting thing is that you can do that when you're testing, but when you're at a Grand Prix, there's no better like comparison. There's no better way to be comparing data. It's on the same day, same session, same wind condition, same tarmac condition, same tires. You can really get some valuable data for your manufacturer. So it does matter. There is a pressure on his shoulders to, you know, accomplish the job. Obviously, try and be as close as possible, even though it's extremely difficult to be as quick or close to the factory riders. But the closer you can be, the more relevant is the data. And obviously, like Neil said, you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to put two bikes in the gravel or in the fence. So you've got to be sort of sensible with it. But it's a great opportunity for him as well to be riding that bike. I'm sure he'll be really excited, you know, to ride this new. When you can ride a new bike or anything new on the bike that the factory guys haven't got yet, it's exciting because you're assessing that and you're participating into the project. So yeah, he'll be enjoying his weekend. Yeah,
Augusto's got a new 2-year deal to test with the factory on into 27. Good news for him. It's you've got to look at now. You've got to have a strong test team. We understand Cal Crutchlow now. It sounds like that's not happening anymore between himself and Yamaha. If you look at KTM's test team, Danny Pedrosa and Pol Espargaro, HRC, Aleix Espargaro and Taka Nakagami. It's, you know, they're strong lineups, aren't they? Ducati, of course, can't actually, because the concession rules, do that much testing. They get a test here with the rest of the field, but Michele Pirro's not been out that much. Many opportunities at the moment, so they haven't, shall we say, strengthened their test team in the same way.
You'd say Ducati have got the weakest probably with Lorenzo Savadori.
I'm just talking, they're trying to get Oliveira,
but he might go to BMW this talk. Obviously, well supervised. But then, and I don't mean this because obviously Pirro's been the best. If you think about it, obviously his feedback must be incredible, and because Ducati have kept him, and he's been the main man really. So, look, but on paper you sit here, you'd be like, well, they've only got Pirro.
They've got 6 bikes though, haven't
exactly,
they?
Yeah, that's so true.
They got loads of data, every weekend, and they can't. They are restricted.
Yeah, and they restrict with tyres, don't they?
Yeah. That's it. So basically, the amount of tires they can use for testing is much lower than the teams without with the concession. Sorry, and there's no point to test without the MotoGP spec tires because they are so different to the tires they can buy in the shop. So yeah, that's how they limit the amount of laps and the amount of testing that you can do.
Really good morning for Fabio Quartararo. Yeah, he might be keen and excited to get out on that bike, but there is still a job to do, and actually competitive this weekend, just as Silva mentioned there in terms of the tyres. For example, Ducati get 170 tyres for testing because they are ranked A. KTM and Aprilia get 220. That's another 50 tyres. D, your Hondas and Yamahas get 260 tyres for testing. But that's huge, and that's, of course, you know, also they're able to test with their factory riders as well in that situation.
Yeah. And it's working. I mean, you see, see how Honda and Yamaha are able to use those. I mean, the rules were, and then the manufacturers are investing and making the most of this opportunity to catch up.
And I want to stress this for people at home who think that, you know, Ducati have been given a leg up. Why don't we get ride height devices? We want the ride height devices gone, an aero. But the fact is, they have made concessions themselves, haven't they? To basically say, if you're not performing, Honda and Yamaha, we're going to give you a leg up. They can't have any wild cards from the Kelly Piro like they used to have. They've given away that. You know, got the engine frees that are on there. They've got that lesser amount of tyres for testing, and it's a handicap in a way, isn't it?
Of course it is.
And, so, and that will bring the field together. And so you can't, you know, if you're Dorna or the FIM dealing with the MSMA and saying, okay, go on, give us a leg up, let's help the other factories. You can't then say, well, we'll take away your ride-out devices. We can't say we'll take away your aero. They can, obviously, on in inverted commas safety grounds, but it's horse trading in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think they've got that balance really well at the moment. Hence, as we've seen certainly with Honda, well, and obviously with what's happening with Yamaha and the V4, it's basically fast-tracking their development. Without it, imagine if the olden days and they decided not to have concessions, and it's like, well, it's down to you guys to
speed up,
for
yeah.
the other manufacturers to find out, to solve the problems, how long it would have taken.
You go back in the past and something it's coming into this weekend. Marc Marquez this year has got 87% effectively over the year. And compare that to his 2019 win, 88%, so a little bit better in 2019. Before that, you go back to Valentino Rossi, who was the only rider to have better in 2004 when he won the Yamaha. I mean, sorry, 2003, should I say? 2004 he was 76%, but on the Honda it was 89 and 88% of points. But that year, how many bikes could win? Realistically, around 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies. 2002 and 2003.
Was
talking about
two bikes could win, really.
Him and Ukawa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ukawa was not his league.
Obviously, Sete Gibernau won on that bike as well. But it was
Alex Barros.
and Alex Barros won.
But in general, it was like the factory Honda, weren't it?
It was the early days of MotoGP, so the factory Honda was the bike beyond.
And then in before that, the best ever in terms of since '93, when the modern point system of 25 points per win was given.
Was it Doohan?
Doohan, 90% in 2 years, but in those years, Doohan was part of that. But how many bikes were winning?
Well, then it was
Mick and
you pretty much had to be on Honda, but
Crivier and Okada, really.
Yeah.
Or even then. Few and far between, basically, is my point. But now we come to a point of the championship where actually in the last couple of years the Ducati have dominated, but this year you're looking at it and you think, well, Honda has won with Zarco. Okay, it's probably a little bit skewing the picture. KTM aren't that far away. Bezzecchi's won.
In Aprilia.
Yeah. Fabio Quartararo should have won at Silverstone.
It does feel like we have. I mean,
Fabi should have won in Silverstone, and that got away from him. But I'm going to link this back to a comment that Tiggs asked in the chat. It says, hey, Megan Josh. Megan's not with us for practice, but she'll be back with us tomorrow because she had to go away. Which KTM rider do you feel will win their first race this season, if any of them? I can think it's between Acosta and Enea. I'm going Enea. Bastianini, I think, will win. Well, it won't be his first ever race win because he's won races before, but I think between the KTM riders this year, he's going to win the first one on the KTM. I think it'll be Enea. If Acosta can win, that'd be brilliant, but he's fallen off the last couple of races.
At VR46 as well, the one with Morbidelli.
Tech 3 last time out with Bastianini's on the podium.
There you go.
So, do you know what it feels like? It feels like next year I think there'll be another step, a small one, and everybody will get even close to Ducati. And then obviously we've got the big rule change, and who knows, with different capacities, obviously no ride-out devices, different amount of aero,
engine,
and then tyres, which is the biggest.
So that's going to be fascinating.
Who's going to be the #1 manufacturer in 2027? It's $1 million question. Obviously, on paper, you go, well, surely the Ducati will start as favourites. Not necessarily. Someone might strike it lucky,
but the bikes are going to be so different.
So different. The chassis are going to be so different. So the tyres.
And if we're just talking about the ride-out devices, at the moment the bikes are designed around it because they're so efficient. The technicians and the engineers had to designed the bike to make that clearance in the rear for it to drop. You're going to see it drop. Oh, no, cut it. Yeah, the clearance is massive. And
Oh, exactly.
They go out on track together, don't they?
Yeah.
To say they're in rival teams. I know they're pals.
There you go.
yeah, well, they train together very often. They train very often here with the road bikes. So yeah, they have to make that clearance at the rear. So the more clearance you got, the more you can have amplitude with the radar device, and the more efficient your bike is at accelerating effectively. So that they won't need anymore. So they're going to be able to come back to, let's say, more sort of like natural bikes. The bikes are going to be more normal, and it's very hard to call.
Yeah, it is.
But then there'll be the other space age button that someone will develop.
Somebody will develop. Which I tell you what will make it's going to make really interesting is the first half of next year, because it's going to be all about contract talk, because the majority of the riders are out of contract. So who's going to do it? Who's going to sign early, and who's going to sign with who? Like there'll be some big surprises, because there's going to be unknowns, and we know the Japanese manufacturers have got a big checkbook.
Imagine you're a MotoGP rider manager now, and you're trying to find out who has got the best soundest project, who has got the secret key to the technical regulations for 2027.
But if you're on the other side and you're trying to sign the best riders, you'll say you've got the key, because no one can argue with you, no one can tell you otherwise. They're not allowed to start looking at those bikes, are they, until the end of this year?
They've done a sort of gentleman agreement that they're not going to roll them out, until next year.
Yeah,
They've got to be there, though.
Yes, we know I mean, I can't imagine any of the Italian manufacturers. I mean, surely, no, what? Might just have a little, what? Who's that riding around there? That looks like Pirro. That's
Sorry, what?
looking back.
I can't read between the lines there, Neil. What are you suggesting? You switch your mic off.
Speak to my lawyer. I'm not suggesting anything, Gav.
They couldn't do it. They've been photographers. You couldn't do a 100% sealed test.
100%. I think you could.
Could you?
In Italy, I don't think
Where
you could,
would
because
you
you'd have
do
to
it?
have some
Where would you
marshals.
do it?
Well, you obviously wouldn't do it at Misano.
No.
Or Mugello.
Cremona. That's where we're going to see the first rollout of the
I am
Gatti 850.
convinced.
Right, let's park that for a second. I just want to head back down to pit lane, because Rachel's catching up with BR46 team boss Pablo Nieta, with both their riders in the top 4 currently.
Yeah, thanks so much, Gav. Yeah, Pablo, so far so good today, especially in FP1. You had a first and a third, obviously both in the top 4 at the moment. I guess that's what we should expect, though, is it, from the Italian riders round here at home? Expectations must be high this weekend.
Yeah, that's our home race. No, this is a very important weekend for us. Very important race. We start feeling that pressure. No, that means that we have something important to do. But anyway, we have to try to be like a normal weekend, normal race, and then try to make our best.
How lofty, though, do the ambitions get for not just the team and the riders? They must come here with so much more anticipation of what's at stake.
Yeah, and then our work office is 5 kilometers from here, no? So we have a lot of friends, a lot of tifosi, no? So it's very important for us to try to make a very good weekend, but the most important thing is try to start working in a good way, because it's very important to try to make a very good Friday. We know that is one of the most important things, try to be in the Q2 directly, and then we will see what happens during the race.
Tell me about Franco earlier as well. Obviously had that off at the end of the session when he was fastest. Was that just a case of pushing too much, or was that anything to do with the bike?
Yeah, sometimes happen, no? Sometimes happen that the riders want to make something important, no? And he pushed a little bit too much, but anyway, when you are fighting to try to make a very competitive lap, it's normal that sometimes happen these things.
Well, good luck this weekend. I hope you give the home fans something to cheer about.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. Thanks to Pablo down there. There are high expectations this weekend, and starting as they have with the boss down in the garage as well, Valentino Rossi, watching close in. They'll be hoping for that double podium again.
Yeah, well, and I think they would have been a little worried about trying to beat Mark as well. You can imagine, the management going, well, Alex put his team in Barcelona last week. So.
Yeah, and just quick, let's go check up with the chat as well coming through. Eddie says, Pecco looks better. Probably recovered from crisis a bit. Looks like he'll go to Q2. He's 6th at the moment, 131.413. Definitely looks likely. coming through. Pecco should come back at the front this weekend, since it's one of his home races. He does train here a lot, as the boys said earlier on. Bezzecchi should have a much better weekend, since it's also one of his home races. I feel like Marini has been overtaking Zarco for top Honda in recent races. That is definitely true. Tig also mentioning Binder back down the wrong end of the session. It's just one of the great rounds straight back to disappointment. Yeah, back at the French Grand Prix took victory. Now Zarco's down 20th place at the moment. If Mark has 148 points or more after the race on Sunday ahead of Alex, he can win the championship in Motegi. That is true, yeah. So he can. It's the first opportunity to come in and take victory for the championship at Mugello, and he can join us for that live in 2 weeks' time here on JB Motorsports. All of the actions. Take a look at the new Honda updated Aero exhausts, and it's quite interesting actually, because there's one very large exhaust that sticks straight up. Then just behind it there's a narrower one, both similar heights, but it's sort of a vortex effect, so it goes sort of like a house tree across the two, and the exhaust goes straight up to the top, and the third exhaust, the proper main exhaust as well, alongside the winglets, move to the side as well. So they've had a few other designs to try and generate straight line speed and grip, and making the exhaust part of the aero winglet is a unique idea. But yeah, Honda have been playing around with their ideas going into it. There's Marc Marquez talking with Gigi Dall'Igna about, shaking his head a bit actually is Mark, but he's fastest of all by 92 thousandths of a second. So if he still feels like there's room on the bike to improve and still feels like there's areas, that's going to be a factor. As you can see on the chat, improvement from Vinales, P9, 0.6 off the pace. Has he dropped down to 11th now, 131.638. Top 10 at the moment then, with half the session gone. It's Marc Marquez from Franco Morbidelli, Fabio Di Giannantonio, Marco Bezzecchi, Alex Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia, Fabio Quartararo, Luca Marini, Raul Fernandez and Enea Bastianini. They have that top 10. Further down that order, we go with them. I'm having to go through Q1 to begin with. And that is going to be Mavi Vinales, 11th, Brad Binder, 12th, Pedro Costas, 13th, Igor, 14th, Juan Mir, 15th, Alex Ritten, 16th, Jorge Martin, 17th, Fermin Aldeguer, 18th, Jack Miller, 19th, Johan Zarco, 20th, Miguel Oliveira, 21st, Augusto Fernandez, 22nd, and Somkat Chantra, 23rd. If people wonder why I read them out when you can see them, it's because many people here on YouTube and Twitch also listen to us via the radio network that comes in as well. So we like to update everything, because Bagnaia's on a better lap time coming through. So Zaigura, the second fun starting to approach here for MotoGP with 27 minutes to go.
Where that Mark has said that he does not want to even test the 2024.
Right.
You don't want to try it. Obviously, you wouldn't, because you know you can't use it anyway.
No, but
But can use it next year.
Yeah, for next year.
Yeah, next year. But
that's why I was thinking. This is the test.
What's the 26 bike going to be?
Exactly that. This is like
what is it going to be?
The first look at it, isn't it?
Because you think if you're Bagnaia, well, I don't want an evolution of this bike, but they're not going to listen to you, are they?
What would you do for Bagnaia? You'd want to try the 2024 package.
Yeah,
exactly.
But you've got to have the same bike as Marc Marquez. The pair of you have to have the same bike.
Yes, in the factory team,
in the factory team, yeah.
Yep, that's true.
There are some decisions to be made.
That's what I mean. Obviously, those decisions will have already been made, because obviously the test is this Monday, so they'll know exactly what they're going to ride. But that's why I sort of posed the question. I'd love to know. It'd be nice to get inside and speak to...
Well, we started the season, we didn't know what they were running. You know, so I'm not sure we're going to find out.
It was at 25.2.
Yeah.
24.5.
Yeah. We didn't quite know.
24.5.
Look at that, turn 11.
It's all right, but it's not top rack, is it?
No.
Top rack through there, and the reason being is top rack through there, I'd say the electronics...
It's flat out, isn't it?
The way the electronics are set, maybe on a superbike, I mean, top rack was on the lock stop through there, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was drifting all the way. But different bikes, different tyres.
Where with the GP boys, we've not seen them drift. Now, bear in mind, we know a MotoGP bike's got more horsepower, so essentially you should be able to light it up, but they're not doing.
Yeah, but you can't. The superbike, you can sort of like make it drift and muscle it around, make it pivot like yourself. With the GP, if you try and do that with superbike, with a GP, it doesn't quite work, because the bike is sort of stronger than you. And with all the aero, and it's heavier, so it's harder to drift actually.
When you think a top rack through there was just ridiculous.
It was
ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
It'd
be exciting to see him.
Yeah, we all can't wait. We were discussing earlier, weren't we, about him testing at the end of the season. Obviously, if he goes on to win the title for BMW, do they release him to, you know, we expect they will, but they'll probably still use him for promo.
Yeah, usually you'd think, you know, any manufacturer that is in the game to win the championship, they'd want to use the rider, you know, for the motor shows and for the promotion. Obviously, you won a title together, and you want that image, you know, you want to use it as much as you can.
Yeah, so I'm sure it'll be a gentleman's agreement where they release him from his contract or allow him to test the MotoGP bike.
Unbranded. And he's not allowed to make any comments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
something like that. That we've seen that in the past.
Yeah, and it's the right thing to do. It's the fair thing to do. And he will continue up to the end of December as a BMW employee. And like you said, do all the PR attached with what appears like another world title.
Did you see that then? So Piero Taramasso, Michelin boss here in the paddock. Davide Tardozzi looked like he was giving him an earful. And then Davide Barana comes past the techno, he just sort of patted him on the shoulder to say, don't worry, Davide's just het, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Piero
it's all
looked
fine.
like he'd got both barrels out of Tardozzi there.
Just a little V4 watch. We've got Augusto Fernandez is in 22nd, just 1.5 seconds off after 14 laps.
And he was, what was it this morning?
This morning,
21st, but he was only 1.1 off.
What time did he do this morning, Silvan?
He did a 32.5.
No, so yeah, so he's stayed at the same lap time, which is actually something that's could quite easily happen, as in
because he's been testing here, so he's already sort of
got to his limit,
and he's got his rhythm. That's his rhythm. Yeah.
That was the benchmark we thought, wasn't it, at the start of the weekend? That was where we were thinking 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, and then you'd say you'd then put a Fabio on it, Quartararo, and you'd expect him to be half a second quicker. So
the fact remains, and it was a question that I put to them yesterday in the press conference. Honda have got a V4 and have grip problems. KTM have got a V4. And
it's not a straightforward solution.
It's not a silver bullet.
Absolutely not. No, and they've had to work very hard at it, and they will have to work very hard at it to, you know, to catch the gap. They started from far away this year, well, end of last year. So yeah, they've already made massive inroads with this, and to bring the bike, you know, so close. Obviously, we'd have to assess it properly. You'd have to have, you know, if they can try it here on Monday with good conditions, that would be the dream. They weren't able to do that, unfortunately, last week in Barcelona because the conditions were not great. It started raining on the Monday, but hopefully they can do that here and back-to-back the bikes, and that's where you really get an understanding of the strengths and the weaknesses of your package.
Christian Pupolin down there with Casey Stoner inside the Honda garage. Casey having a good chat with Christian. Works with Luca Marini now, has worked with Casey in the past. Of course, he did a lot of his work with Christian Gabarini, but he was in his squads at Ducati. Was a long-term Ducati man.
Don't you just think Casey could still throw his leathers on and be quick?
I was exactly thinking that.
He knows. He knows as well.
I was thinking if he was to go out now on a GP bike, how far do you think it would be?
I don't think it'd be far at all. Give it.
I don't.
Do you know what? I feel like give him a day with
yeah,
a few sets of tyres. By the end of the day, I think he'd be right in the ballpark. He's not going to be. You just know it.
Do you remember when he stopped riding and then he came back as a Ducati test rider?
Yeah.
But he had a couple of years off, or some. It was 2 years, I think, or something like that. We got to Sepang and it was the test riding test.
Yeah.
So we got on track, and bear in mind, green track. Third lap, he was on a 201, and I remember that vividly. And that was back in, was it 2017 or something? I can't remember. Anyway, third lap, he was in 201, and a 201 around Sepang
on a green track, on a not rubbered up track.
Very fast.
Yeah.
And he was instantly, I remember being shocked by that, and that was some time ago.
Did you, at any point during that test, go past him and tap your seat?
Yeah. just show him a bit the lines and stuff.
Yeah.
No, he was miles quicker than me.
Oh, look at that.
Always was.
Miles,
Always will be.
hang on, it was miles quicker than everyone.
Look at that, the way he picked the bike up there.
Picked
through
it
the
up
left
and turned it and slid
Oh.
it. That was portrait motion, wasn't it? That's what he does.
Stoner will be 40 in a month's time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Feel old now.
That's the best age, isn't it?
He still looks at about 25, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know, Sylvan, I've not got there yet.
But 40, I mean, you look at Bautista's still really competitive, racing at the front of World Superbikes.
Yeah, Max Biaggi, Carlos Checa, they won World Superbike titles at 40 plus.
Valentino retired here when he was
41.
42, wasn't he?
Was he 41, 42? John McGuinness is 65 years old now and still lapping faster than he's ever lapped anywhere, pretty much. I'm joking, John. I'm sure he's listening, actually. He'll hear that.
Still doing PBs wherever he goes.
He is. He's actually, and he's, John's, is 52, I think, so
never give up.
I'm waiting for your phone to light up with the views.
No, I think he's at the Goodwood Festival of Revival, so...
Revival, yeah, it's on the screen
They
now.
were over in Italy, aren't they? And gone back over there for Goodwood. Zeki down there running fourth.
A little plug, if you want to see some classic bike racing as well with the Barashi Memorial Trophy, you can join the watch-along on JB Motorsports, the main YouTube channel, where we will be covering all of the Goodwood races this weekend. It's on now with practice. Race one's this afternoon at 6:30 UK time.
Second.
Absolutely nothing. Look at that for some style. That's poetry in motion. Using his body correctly, standing the bike up, applying the power.
It's out of the final corner.
Yeah.
Curbs. See where the green paint comes in there. Judge that one to perfection. Because you can...
Got a bit of margin there. You know, about
3
couple of
millimetres.
inches. Yeah. That's nice. It was nice to see you saying, Neil, the way he picks up the bike. That's a great thing to watch. Great technique, and they all do it. Corner makes it. They keep their bodies in the same position, but then they push the bike away from them to reduce that lean and get more traction out of the corner. But the body helps still turning.
Is that going to be you next weekend at the Boulder? Are you going to be doing a bit of that?
Elbow down and a lot of picking up the bike.
I hope for good weather for you down there.
I've not
this year.
checked yet, but it's usually quite nice in September, south of France.
But you had was it last year the bad one when it rained, or was it the year before?
No, I didn't go last year, but it was. We had one where it rained in the night there, on and off. Yeah.
I just remember there being lots of spills.
Yeah, that was a while ago. 2021.
All right.
2021. Yeah, it kept like raining in the night, which was great. You're out on slicks and then it rains, and you don't know if you need to come in or not. So, because obviously, effectively, a 24-hour race is a 24-hour flag-to-flag race. So you always have to deal with the conditions. Makes it challenging.
I know Bastianini is a local lad, like Marco Bezzecchi from Rimini on the coast. Won here, remarkably, if you remember, on the Factory Ducati from Jorge Martin. Martin scrapping for every point he required in the championship, and Bastianini turns up and barges past him at turn 4. It was one of that.
Impressive.
It was impressive. It was a hard move.
It was
borderline.
It was a borderline pass. I remember when Bastianini won his first ever Grand Prix here, when he was racing in Moto3.
Got the Grassini team.
Yeah, and he'd got the hair painted
in
up.
the Tricolore, wasn't it?
Tricolore was down at Parc Fermé, me and you, Gav. I remember looking at him thinking, wow, that sort of came from nowhere.
The hair or the result?
Bit of both, really. Yeah, he just one of those characters sort of throughout his career. Early on, if you think in Moto3, there were races that he won, but he weren't absolute standout through his Moto3 career. Well, it wasn't Bastianini, and then progressed up into Moto2, and it was sort of similar there, but then ended up fighting for that World Championship and getting it over the line. And I actually thought at that point, I don't know, he got the chance to move into MotoGP with Grassini. I wasn't too sure, genuinely, if he'd make it as a MotoGP rider, Bastianini. And he's done well, hasn't he, really, you think about it?
Yeah, he has transformed himself now into one of the top, and on latter stages of the race, I mean, he matches Marc Marquez in terms of pace that you have and
when he's got
a race.
that front-end feeling, he's very, very difficult to beat. really strong. Quite a great rider, actually. Doesn't happen. It can be up and down though, and he was up and down when he was in the factory Ducati team. But when he can produce it, when he's got the feel, amazing rider to watch.
We sort of smile about him over the years, me and you, Gav, haven't we, especially. When you see him in the paddock, he does not have a care in the world. He doesn't seem like he's not too... he's like just pretty laid back, doesn't look that bothered. As in, you know what I mean? Like, not too stressed, not too happy.
I always called him the Space Cadet.
Yeah, just sort of wanders around, not intense. Tell you what, when it comes to let's go time, he's got bags of talent. I like him a lot.
Yeah, it's the career that's got better, hasn't it? I know he won the Moto2 World Championship, but even then,
like I said, he wasn't sensational, was he? Right, well, these are your first goals at your proper time attacks. Everyone's out. Well, everyone's gone out with soft rears in. This is time attack mode, and it's not a guarantee you're going to be in that top 10.
Look here at Pecco Bagnaia, who, I'll remind you, was on pole here for the San Marino Grand Prix, was on pole for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.
Doubled up
time as that lap went on there, actually.
Yeah, but I feel like he's going to have to go faster than that if he wants to be in the top 10 at the end of this session with 13 minutes to go.
1:31.281 is Bagnaia's time. And now we're getting into that zone where everyone's going to start pushing. As Neil just said, 13 minutes left. This will be the go point. Track temperature is at 36 degrees Celsius. Air temperature at 27. There's a 13-kilometre-hour wind that's just blowing around. This is the go point. Let's see what they've got. Replay of Bastianini.
Still, like, well down on laps in general. But I thought it was going to click for him last weekend.
Yeah, but in Balaton he did a great race.
Yeah, that was it. Because of Balaton finishing fourth.
And then we thought, coming into Barcelona, Catalonia, that track that's used to Aprilia, coming off that great comeback, loads of positive energy, carried the momentum there, and he wasn't able to do that. They didn't quite get enough rear grip to do it, and then here, looks like he's, it's not quite coming yet together.
We'll get on to Enea Bastianini's crew chief change.
Hey up.
I was just about to say, we need to watch this, because Bagnaia
New
is...
tyres, second lap. That's looking better. So that could be the first 30 of the weekend.
Let's see then. Bagnaia will come out of the last corner. We've all been saying, is he going to have differential times? Can he fight back in a circuit he tests out most of all? Over the line, and he goes to fastest. 1:30.794, the fastest time so far this weekend. And that is great news for Pecco Bagnaia, who seems to have finally found something back in himself at the top of the timesheets. Quartararo goes 5th, 1:31.133. Marc Marquez is up by 0.2 of a second at the moment. He's got a medium front, soft rear tyre combo as he comes through turn 14 now. In the third sector, trying to just pull that throttle ever so slightly. Did he touch the green there? I'm not too sure. We only cut to that camera angle on a late charge as he comes down into the braking zone. Into turn 16 now. He's up by 0.3 of a second, 0.293. He's setting them alight. So is Franco Morbidelli. So is Marco Bezzecchi actually as well, as they come over into the last corner then for Marc Marquez. Pulls the throttle back up towards the line. Doesn't keep the wheelie down, but it's a 1:30.480. That's 0.3 faster than Bagnaia. On the same bike, the same tyres, exactly the same. Medium front, soft rear, both done the same amount of laps. And Marquez is 0.3 of a second faster. Tell me there's a problem with Pecco Bagnaia. That is a clear advantage as to what is going on with the three-time world champion. Over the line then comes Morbidelli. He goes into 4th position. That's only because Marco Bezzecchi's jumped to 2nd, 1:30.643. So more time has been found out there. Bagnaia is coming to the pit lane, so is Raul Fernandez and Enea Bastianini. Alex Marquez then into the last corner, the last one, up towards the line. He's estimated to go 5th. He's currently in 10th position, the man who won at Catalonia as well 5 days ago. Up to the line now, and Alex Marquez, 4th, 1:30.838. So he goes safe but not safe enough. Pedro Acosta looking strong as he comes through, down into the hairpin at turn number 16. Hug the right-hand side, 17, 18 then, let the clutch go, let the throttle go away from you and just build up the speed. Another heavy stopping braking point for the 90-degree left-hander. Last corner, up to the line now, past the pit and paddock complex. That's wonderful here at Mazzano. And Vinales goes into the 12th because Acosta's gone 6th, 130.889. They cut to who we were following there, mid-corner. So that's not great TV direction there from Dorna. They could have done better there. Here's Juan Mir into turn 14. He's 0.071 of a second down. He's 10th fastest at the moment. Johan Zarco is 7/10 of a second down, to go back to what we were mentioning earlier about how differential the times could be. The rear sliding away. Zarco over the line goes 14th, 131.499. So that's a bit of a shame. Over the line we go now for Juan Mir, and does he improve? 10th, goes 4th fastest, 1:38.19. So the first lap time's complete with 8 minutes to go, and we have the top 10 of Marc Marquez, Bezzecchi, Bagnaia, Mir, Alex Marquez, Morbidelli, Acosta, Di Giannantonio, Quartararo and Binder.
Dropped out again. I wonder if his lap was taken away from him. Yeah, he's suddenly down in 18th, so I think he might have exceeded track limits.
Martin's got a track limits violation,
on his lap. Easily done round here. There's lots of places for you to do it. Got turns 1 and 2, obviously, out of turn 10, between 11 and 12, between 15 and 16, between 13 and 14, actually, is another one. As you can see on the outside there, between 11 and 12. Now we're into 13, more on the outside of the track. Johan Zarco looking to get himself inside that top 10. Has he been just grafting away on the medium tyre? And now we're starting to see a little bit of more pace with the soft in.
It's the sort of thing Zarco would do. He'd be just spending the whole day working towards his Sunday setup.
Goes 8th, knocks Brad Binder out of the 10.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough in that, you wouldn't have thought. Like you say, 0.6 covering the top 10. Most people are back in, putting a fresh set of boots on. Bagnaia's gone back out. He sits 3rd, and with that time, you'd say...
I think he's okay.
He'd be safe, yeah.
I think it's Zarco, Di Giannantonio, Quartararo, the ones who will be...
Yeah, maybe even Pedro there.
Pedro, yeah, fumbling for another lap.
Yeah, you're going to have to find some time. Because when you look at the riders that are outside...
Like this man.
Yeah.
Martin. Bezzecchi's currently 2nd, so they've sent them out together. This is an important race. We talk about Ducati being an hour up the road in Bologna, in Borgo Panigale. You come down on the motorway, pretty much a straight line then, to here at the Mazzano circuit. Well, Noale in the Venice region, just through Veneto. So, but it's still an important race. This is the closest racetrack to them. So it's a huge weekend, so very keen, I'm sure they'll be, after a tough weekend in Barcelona, to get both riders into Q2, because that changes your weekend all of a sudden. As their big ambassador, Max Biaggi, watches on. So this is an out lap through Curvone. Let's switch to a rider on a lap here with Pecco Bagnaia. Good second sector in overall time. Not enough for him to make inroads. What about in sector 3 though now? Third split comes up just at turn 13.
Seems like they got a good 2 laps in those new rear tyres, and yeah, the second lap performance is just a good, maybe even a little bit better. That's the first time I thought for Pecco that second lap was better, and then here it looks like he's still building his pace, even though he's on a quick one. Let's see what that second lap delivers now.
You know, it's almost like he needs a fast installation, that. to get some trust in the bike, and then he'll go again. Martin, meanwhile, always been one of those to be straight on it.
Yeah, he's, like I say, just hanging on to his teammate, isn't he? Trying to learn something.
Absolutely rushed in on the brakes.
And that's what happens a little bit. You see the gap starts to grow, so you try and make it up on the brakes. You risk a little bit more, then you score a fraction wide.
But even then, pulled it back round. It offers that, doesn't it, La Quercia corner?
Yeah.
You could just see he's fighting the bike. It's moving all over the place.
He's overriding it a little bit.
Overriding it a bit. It's come off a Ducati that's so stable as well. Everybody says that. Smooth power. And then you get onto the Aprilia, which is just that little bit more nervous. But he's pushing. Someone's gone down.
Yellow flag out anyway.
Yellow sector 1 has come up on our timing screens. So who has it? That's slowing down. It's at the first 2 corners. It's Augusto Fernandez on the V4. So this will spoil everybody's run into the first corner then. And that V4 bike is broke down this morning, and now it's crashed this afternoon. Not a great. Let's have a look. Middle of the corner at turn 2. It's at the crossover point from 1 into 2, and just hits the curb. That's not his fault. That's not even the bike's fault. That's just the track's fault. The curbs here are so treacherous. It sort of comes up out of nowhere. Alex Marquez goes to 4th, 130.752. He's found some more delta time that nobody else knew about, and that's exactly what they want to find out. Mark Top, Bezzecchi, Bagnaia, Alex Marquez, Mia, Mark Marquez. Alex Marquez coming down. That's Quartararo. It's got sort of taken out of it because Quartararo's run wide at run wide at turn 1. That took me completely out of the commentary there, people. Because Quartararo was just, we cut to him on board and he was drifting off the racing line at the shortcut at turn 1. Lap time's cancelled now, flashing through for track limits. Yellow flag, sector 3. Someone else has, it's a big one there. And that is Juan Mir, who has gone off of the hairpin. So he's gone straight on into the barrier. He looks okay. He's gone on his ripped leathers. He's up and moving his helmet around, so he's okay. Turns in, front dips away from mid-corner. That's a big one. The bike would have hit the barrier with a bit of a thud there. So that yellow flag's out with 2 minutes 19 to go. I hope they don't have to red flag the session. That would be quite something. Get Mir out of the area. He's up and now he's sort of bent over trying to get something out of his helmet, looks like. I wonder if a bit of gravel's gone in there. But get him out of that area. It's a fast part of the track. They've gone back to green flag running. But it's at turn 10, so it's where the long lap penalty loop is. Not the place you want to go down at all there. 2 minutes to go then. So everyone gets a reset lap time. And Bagnaia's coming to the pit lane. 1 minute 30 lap, 2 minute out lap. Bagnaia's into the pits. Let's have a look what's happened here. Right, this is why I got confused, because that's Bezzecchi and Martin having a disagreement, because Bezzecchi's held up Jorge going into turn 1, and then Quartararo got held up on it as well. That's why he's gone off the circuit as well. So I was wondering what exactly the deal was between them. And now it does kind of make sense. So, yellow flag sector 4. Someone's now crashed at sector 4s. We know Bagnaia's not going down to the lap time, but I don't think anybody else can have a go, because we've got another yellow flag out there. Turn 15 we're hearing. So who's gone down there? It's at turn 15, but there's no one there. It's on the driver tracker. Oh, hello. It's Raul Fernandez. Raul Fernandez has gone down. So Augusto's gone down. Raul's gone down as well. And that is at turn 15. So this will stop everybody else improving on their lap times. They'll have to keep their throttle pulled back, as Quartararo knows that it'll be a cancelled lap time, so gets out of the way. No one else is going to improve. Yellow flag's rescinded. Well, this is going to be controversial then. That yellow flag rule, if it comes out, you're in that sector. Here we go, look, the 79, the 23, the 1, the 49, all having lap times gone, and the 12 and the 5 due to yellow flags. Aldeguer moves up. 35 had a lap time deleted as well for track limits and yellow flag. Yellow flag sector 1 now. Feels like that. Well, the checker flag's out, so I won't. It's Jack Miller. Miller's crashed. As Morbidelli goes third fastest, 1:36.73. Where's Miller gone down then? It's not actually telling it. It's turn 1. Miller's got off at turn 1. So this new yellow flag system that they've told us about on our driver trackers, that's brilliant. 42 in the 10. Lap time cancel for track limits. Over the line comes Pedro Acosta, 8th fastest. Stays 8th. Doesn't improve. Nobody on an improvement lap time as things stand. Digi's at the cusp right now. Binder's in the pits. So's Raul Fernandez and Augusto Fernandez. Well, of course, those two are. They crashed on the circuit. Bagnaya's going to make it through. He's now gone back out, but 4th fastest. Digi goes up. Yellow flag sector 2. This is a joke. Absolute joke. Vinales goes 13th. Doesn't improve. But now we've got a yellow flag in the 2nd sector, and race controller not telling us why. It's flashed up. You can see it yourself. Yellow flag sector 2. And everyone's lap time's getting cancelled. Marini over the line, goes up into 7th, 1:30.848. So is Marini's lap time going to get cancelled? Aldeguer's gone 15th, Quartararo stays 12th. Aldeguer goes up, as I said. Lap time cancelled for the 43 due to yellow flag, but he caused the yellow flag. So the top 10 as it stands is Marc Marquez, Marco Bezzecchi, Franco Morbidelli, Pecco Bagnaia, Alex Marquez, Juan Mir, Luca Marini, Jorge Martin, Pedro Costa, and Fabio Di Giannantonio. That's a solid top 10. But lap time for the cancel for the 35 now. Lap time cancellation is going to start coming in. I don't think we're going to know fully who's where just yet.
But it's all helping.
Binder was down, apparently.
Meanwhile,
Binder's
at
crashed.
the front, Marc Marquez, faster than anyone.
Yellow flag sectors 2 and 3. It is indeed. Brad Binder's crashed. Oh, and I think Alex has gone down. Yeah, I think Alex has crashed because he stopped in sector 3.
Chance at the championship in Japan.
So Fabio Quartararo going through Q1 again. His last few rounds he's done that and it's worked for him. So it's not the end of the world. Bastianini is a surprise down in 18th. Not hardly mentioned him.
Yeah, the KTM's looked a taller order this weekend, and Costa 9th, the best of them. Binder 13th, Vinales 14th, Bastianini 18th.
I don't think losing his crew chief would have been of much help there. I mean, Bastianini is coming out of a really good, last few races, and coming here, he's sort of like a specialist around here, isn't he?
Yeah.
He loves it around here, so I would say that is a bit of a surprise. I expected him to do better. Yeah, because he's on a good roll, and coming here, I think he would have expected better as well.
The talk is that Alberto Giribuola will become top rack, whereas Gatliolu's crew
And
chief.
it's effectively resigned with immediate effect, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's what's happened. So yeah, Bastianini's current
Or
crew
been
chief-
resigned,
or been resigned because he's moving on.
moving to a different manufacturer.
Yeah, that's not, obviously Enea Bastianini and Alberto Giribuola, they have this long-term relationship as rider and crew chief, and it can really put you off when you lose your man. Effectively the crew chief is he's the guy that's going to give you that confidence. He's the guy that's going to give you that little edge,
It's your right-hand man, isn't it, Sylvan, in the garage? It's so important, that relationship.
Very important.
But it's the most important relationship in the paddock. In the, from a rider's standpoint, that connection you have with your crew chief.
Yeah, to improve the setup, but also to improve your confidence. And I would say that's maybe even more important.
Well,
It's the guy that, if you trust him, he's going to tell you, look, I've done 2 clicks on that suspension, and now it's going to be much better. Trust me.
They're celebrating this like pole position.
Yeah,
Well, Jorge Martin.
It's a step, in it, and that's it's changed, hasn't it? Now it's like it's quite common now. We see teams almost overreact like this, but it's all about trying to make the rider
Give him the confidence.
feel wanted, happy, and give him the confidence. You're right.
Do you think that was set up and Bez sort of agreed to tow him around?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I don't know why. I don't picture them two as best mates.
I don't, but I picture Massimo Rivola going,
Listen,
this
we
is,
need you to do something
this is
here.
Aprilia's home race.
For the team, yeah. Good. That's fair enough from Bez.
Look, and they're all celebrating like it's a pole position or...
Well, it feels like a pole position because it is critical. What a run. That's it then. We'll be back tomorrow for all the action. We've got the Tissot Sprint, the MotoGP practice and qualifying, and the Moto E races. From us all here, though, from a wonderful race here in Misano, this is going to be a fun weekend. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.